don't really like concentrating on. No one really became a physio or chiro or an osteo because they wanted to become a marketeer. So it's an area that they kind of do because they have to. And so what we try to do with this chapter is get them to really consider what kind of patients they want to get in, make it kind of think about what kind of things they can be doing to do that. And then most importantly, put a plan in place so that they do it consistently, because otherwise they'll do the marketing for a little while, get busy, and then think, oh, thank goodness I don't have to do that anymore. And then, they go through this kind of feast and famine cycle. So that's kind of in a nutshell, but there's lots of bits in the chapters. So I'll just throw it out to you guys.
This is the Justin Blake podcast experience for health professionals that mean business. So wherever you are in the world, listen as we discuss everything you need for you and your health business to survive and thrive. Thanks for listening.
Good morning, everybody. And
Good morning.
We're live again. It's Wednesday. How's everybody's week been? All good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Camping in Devon. Very
nice.
Yeah. The back garden has got tents draped all over it now to dry out. Washing machine, dishwasher. So yes, and we had a lovely time. But camping still seems to involve a lot of work when you get back home, doesn't it? Before once a year is fine. That's about as frequent a camper as I'm going to be, I think.
In the back garden.
In the back garden, yeah. We went to Devon. It was a little bit of rain at the beginning, but the weather was glorious these last few days. So yeah, we took the dinghy out and bodyboarded, and yeah, the kids had a great time.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. Before they get dragged kicking and screaming back to school.
Yeah, we've still got another week. So yeah, because most are back this week, aren't they?
We're back on Thursday and Monday.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Thursday. Okay. People aren't here to talk about school. They're here to talk about business.
Yeah, but everybody's got the same going on. Everybody's going to buy their school shoes this weekend that they haven't already bought. I know mine will be on Friday.
And so that's how you run a business. All right, Kate. There you go. Hello, Dave.
Good morning.
Been here for a
morning.
Oh, I've just seen Celia in a different spot to usual. I've got some gorgeous gloves.
I am not. It's getting a bit chilly now, so I've moved location into our Africa room.
I was going to ask, are they from South Africa, the sculptures on the wall?
Yes, they're all giraffes. I love giraffes. Are like my favorite animal, so they are giraffes from Africa in our African room.
Is there much meat on them?
Is it what?
Is there much meat
I don't know. Oh, no, that's wrong.
Have you tried ostrich?
Sculptures.
Crocodile, ostrich and crocodile, they're very nice.
Yeah.
Not
Very
at the same time,
chickeny.
obviously, but...
Yeah, no.
Well, the crocodile's like pork, but not as fatty. It's a bit denser. It's quite nice. But the ostrich was just, with garlic. Oh, sorry.
So we've spoken school shoes, cuisine, giraffe. So shall we talk about pipeline?
Go on, then.
Sounds boring.
We're working, for anybody who hasn't joined us before, we're working our way through Celia's book, The 7 Pillars of Painless Practice. And chapter 3, this is the week 3, is there's two. Why are there two pipeline chapters, Celia?
Because it's such a big subject and we wanted to break it down so that it was kind of more palatable instead of kind of seeing this huge big chapter coming up. We broke it into 2 sections. But I mean, as I said to Dave on the WhatsApp group, we could probably write 2 books about pipeline and still not cover absolutely everything. So we've tried to kind of pick out the bits that we think, are the, essentials to look at. And this is probably, this is why our phone rings the most, and probably for you guys as well, where people aren't busy enough and they want to grow their practice. So they need to work on their pipeline. We purposely wrote the book, chapter 1 and chapter 2, before pipeline, because we felt that, to just dive into pipeline without giving consideration to your own goals and your goals of what you want your practice to be like is just kind of putting the cart before the horse. So the pipeline is the area as well that we find that the practitioners don't really like concentrating on. No one really became a physio or chiro or an osteo because they wanted to become a marketeer. So it's an area that they kind of do because they have to. And so what we try to do with this chapter is get them to really consider what kind of patients they want to get in, make it kind of think about what kind of things they can be doing to do that. And then most importantly, put a plan in place so that they do it consistently, because otherwise they'll do the marketing for a little while, get busy, and then think, oh, thank goodness I don't have to do that anymore. And then, they go through this kind of feast and famine cycle. So that's kind of in a nutshell, but there's lots of bits in the chapters. So I'll just throw it out to you guys. Say what you thought.
So I've, as we know, gone through and completed most of the book, however many years ago, a decade ago, and I've highlighted this sentence on the first page, which I think is really important, and it's what you're describing, creating consistent rhythms and consistent habits, and then a consistency, a steady flow of new customers or patients through the front door. Your sales and marketing is a device that delivers those new patients to the door. So you're looking for that consistency. You're looking to be creating rhythms, patterns, repeatability, rather than spikes all over the place. And that's what this is about. And then that's why the sales and marketing needs to become into a rhythmical habit, so that, again, you're not spiking all over the place.
I also think just sitting back and really giving it some consideration, it avoids you kind of making rash decisions. So, often it's a very reactive thing. Someone phones up and says, oh, I can get you up to the top of Google, give me £700 a month. And they think, oh, I've got to do this. And they kind of jump in. And then, I had a client who spent that for about 11 months in a row, had absolutely terrible results. And then, she actually still said to me, well, do you think I should just give it another few months? And I'm like, no, gosh. So I think, by just kind of going through a process to put a plan in place and alongside someone as well, get someone professional to help you with that. It would be far better investing time with a professional that knows the knows the sector, knows what's worked in previous clinics before, sit down and spend some money upfront doing that, and you'll probably save money in the long run. You won't waste money on kind of reactive things when people phone and say, oh, advertise in our publication, you can't afford not to be in our publication. Well, actually, sometimes you can be.
And I think it's really interesting that on the second page that you really drive the reader to think about their avatar, to really think about the demographics and psychographics of their ideal client, and how well or well not that population is already served by other clients, other so that you can find your niche and target into your niche.
Yeah.
It's showing up. It is that consistently showing up every day in as many different places as you can. And I think Celia, you hit it on the head that no one goes into healthcare to be a marketeer, unless of course you decide then you're going to change direction and become a marketeer and do healthcare stuff. Because it's really hard to do the clinical stuff and do the business stuff and do the marketing stuff at the same time. And you do end up with burnout. And really, which one are you going to focus on out of those three? You're going to focus on the clinical delivery of care because that's what you're trained to do, and that's great. But it is that being visible in places. It's being visible in your community. It's being seen as that go-to person in your community. And quite often, one of the challenges I find with people is that they don't want to be the face of their business. They don't want to be up there being seen. And they're worried about people saying negative things or nasty things or maybe getting it wrong in public or whatever it is. And actually, that kind of authenticity, that kind of openness, that seeing people as they truly are and being honest is a really powerful marketing tool. And then taking that and putting it in all the different places. And I mean, the pipeline stuff, I was looking at it, and it's so kind of thorough in the book. And like you say, 2 chapters isn't enough. 2 books would be more enough. But actually not just putting all your eggs in one basket and saying, I'm going to have a Yellow Pages ad, which probably you wouldn't want to do now anyway, but I'm actually going to go out and network with people. I'm actually going to go out and sponsor things. I'm actually going to go out and do my social media, and I'm going to dip my toe in everything. And then look at where the returns are. Look at where so I think my ideal client might be over here, and actually you find out they're over there, where you just pivot and change and move in a different direction. So yeah, there's so much to it. It's such a big subject.
Yeah, and that's where it's important to sit down and define who your ideal client is, and don't be scared to actually be quite specific about that, because when you're marketing to everybody, you're talking to nobody.
It was really It was really interesting. On this camping trip, one of our friends had brought along a board game called Splendor. And basically you have to, it is like building a business in many ways, or trying to win. You're trying to win coins to be able to buy cards, basically, to be able to buy character cards. But what was fascinating was if it was just 2-player, it was quite combative. But as soon as there became 3-player, you had to focus on your game and not worry about the other people. You had to focus, and this is what made me think about when people worry about the competition. You just need to focus on your game. And actually, the card you're aiming to buy, the character you're aiming to buy, is probably completely different from the one your neighbour's aiming to buy. And it's the same with running your clinic. You just need to focus on your game and what it is that you're trying to achieve. And let the other people do their part. And hopefully you win. If you come second, that's fine too.
I mean, one of the statistics which is like shocking that I heard the other day was, and this is talking about the amount of information that is out there, and then why people think that if they do just one thing, it will help. So the amount of information that has been generated in the lifetime of man from the dawn of time to 2013, everything, is the same amount of information that we're now producing every 48 hours. Do you want me to say that again? From the dawn of time to 2013 is the same amount of information. These stats is a year or two old, so this is probably quicker. So there's so much.
Can you do it in a deeper voice though? You really need to. You need to get closer to the microphone and go, from the dawn of man.
So, there's a huge, well, obviously there's a huge amount of everything out there. So to get, so as you said before, it used to be easy. Put up your sign, Yellow Pages. That was you set for 30 or 40 years. Unfortunately not. And again, the people expect them when somebody's going to walk past you every day and realize what you do, or just be aware of who you are in the community. It just doesn't happen anymore. You need to get on this and you need to start talking like I've been doing a lot.
I haven't noticed, Justin. I haven't noticed you talking at all. Maybe not doing it enough.
But the problem is, Dave, you're on my feed and I send you all my links. But for people who aren't out there, the other 9 billion people in the world, you need to be posting a lot to get through, just to break through anyway, to be heard in the whole noise now. That's the new game. And if you don't think, get somebody in to do the marketing for you. Hello? I think being heard is part of it. Certainly, you need to be heard and you need to be out there. And there's a thing called the spotlight effect, where you believe that people are paying probably twice as much attention to you as they actually are, and probably that's even more exaggerated. And the fact that if people are only paying half the attention to you that they think they are, it means you can be twice as annoying, twice as present, twice as post twice as much as you are currently, and still probably not even scratch the surface. And people are scared. People are worried about what they're going to talk about. It doesn't matter. You can talk about absolutely anything, and actually, that talking about, I'm not saying be a complete tool out on social media, out in your marketing, but talk about things which maybe you wouldn't ordinarily talk about. Get people to connect with you in different ways. Going out there and saying, as a podiatrist, I can help you with an ingrowing toenail, will only connect you with a very small percentage of the people who are looking for your service. But if you go out there and talk about your love of horses, or your love of giraffes, or something along those lines,
People will connect with that.
Walks that you can do, kicking through the leaves with your dog if you don't have an ingrown toenail at the end of September. That's what you talk to them about. The 5 local walks, down the play park, the getting ready for autumn, fitness autumn routines, balls and balance coming into autumn, getting ready for Christmas, wearing your high heel shoes at Christmas. I mean, it's just constant evolving. And Celia said about a plan. We've talked about this before. Start off with either St. Patrick's Day stuff and the Easter and the Christmas and the thing. And has anybody done any ski stuff yet? Ski season's coming up, or is it? I don't know.
What's really, really interesting is if we go back to what came up about 10 minutes ago about how do you manage all of this and not get totally overwhelmed. And you can really simply set up a default diary. So in the same way that you have appointments allocated for clients, you're allocating half an hour a day, an appointment a day towards your sales and marketing or towards whatever else it is. So getting the discipline that you have for treating clients is the same discipline that you need to be applying to running your business, because you're used to running a default diary as a clinician for clients, but we haven't yet necessarily got into the same habit always of running that same default diary for treating our businesses. And if we can do that, then we find that we can get a lot more efficient, a lot more effective. And also we can get a lot more clear about what it is that we want to delegate rather than abdicate to somebody else too. So I think a little spreadsheet with all the tasks that need to be done daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, the date they need to be done.
No more spreadsheets. No more spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are banned. Spreadsheets are banned. No, we're not doing spreadsheets.
But you get the concept.
You have a problem, Kate Markland. You have a problem with spreadsheets. We are going to get you help.
Default diary, not a spreadsheet. You're going to get a default diary to treat your business in the same way that you treat your clients. A treatment plan for it, implemented, not just talked about.
And I think that's a really important point. Is I think clinicians need to treat their business as if it was a patient, because what happens with a marketing slot in the diary, it's the first to get pushed out when a patient wants to get seen urgently. And then that patient, your business, doesn't get treated. So I think that mindset, one really needs to consider your business is actually one of your most important patients. It is the most important patient. Because if you don't treat your business, you're not going to have patients to treat. So you should be calling Markland Clinic is Mrs. Markland Clinic or Mr. Markland Clinic, that I can't just scoot out of my diary.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting as well that if you were to treat your marketing and your pipeline and your networking and your kind of acquisition of customers in the same way as you'd maybe treat, I don't know, relationship with your best friend, that you would do things for them without expectation of return. Just you would go out there and literally just do things, not because you're expecting to get something back and measurable, but you're doing things because you want to do things and be seen. You want to have that, if you've got an Auntie Mabel somewhere, you just send them a random card saying, I was thinking about you. If you treat your marketing like that, and you find your customers who refer to you, you find your referrers who refer to you, and you keep in touch with them, and you make sure that they still know that you're there. There's so many things with this. We could do a whole. How long could we do videos on this for? We could do videos on this for until the end of time. So loads of things you can do with it.
Yeah.
Hi, Gabriel.
Hey.
Oh, we're back.
She's back in the room. He heard the word spreadsheets and it woke him up.
You've got to talk. Who's your ideal patient? Pretend she's your Auntie Mary and just talk to her like that. That's it. Yeah. It's all about her. Pick one patient, design the whole practice around them, and just talk to them. That's all you need to do.
There's a fear
planning ahead.
Phone them on their birthday. How was the hairdressers? How was that trip down to wherever you went away for the weekend? Talk to them about that. Lovely trip. I think you'd love to go on and walk and kick through the leaves. Or how are you the kids getting ready to go skiing in over Christmas? What are you going to be doing for Christmas and New Year? Are you going to get that? I'm going to start to decide to get fitter. Are you going to decide to do park runs in the new year? Let's talk all about how you can do park runs to help your balance and your fitness. Let's get you ready for spring. Or where are you going away in the springtime? I mean, it's just an evolving, constant conversation.
And there's a fear. I think there's a fear with some people of actually going, right, that's my ideal client. I'm going to talk to them specifically. And they go, well, I can do all these treatments. I've got all these skills to treat all these patients. Why would I want to just focus on those people? I'm going to lose out on all the others. And the reality is that even if you talk to your ideal client all the time and they're this very, very narrow niche, you will still pick up a range of people from outside of that niche. And then the key is, can you treat them? Yes, you can. Brilliant. If you can't treat them, you get some relationships with people who can treat them. And that's how you build that network and you build that pipeline.
But we're also seen to be talking to people who seem to, are we further along this journey and we're now talking to people who are actually doing this? Or are we still talking to people who have not done any of this and have no idea what we're talking about? Because different people are from different bases. And again, I think we touched on this earlier, just before the call. If lockdown starts to come in again and you still haven't implemented all those things we talked about in March and April, like follow up and you've updated your system or transferred over and everything, there's going to be another downturn again. Good luck with that. It's we need to have been doing hopefully being busy getting all this stuff sorted out over the last number of months since we've been started talking about this in, end of March. Yeah.
So one of the things I can see that I struggled with when I went through this chapter in Celia's book is the USP. So I've made some clear notes about demographics, and now we're talking about how we communicate with potential clients and potential ideal client that we've defined. But I clearly struggled with deciding your USP because I've written it, scribbled it out, written it, scribbled it out, written it, scribbled it out, and I still can't actually read what I finally sort of... so I obviously found that really difficult in terms of trying to understand why the ideal client is actually coming to coming to my clinic. In hindsight, the easiest thing is just to interview a bunch of your clients to ask them, and then you'll be able to define your USP.
You flip it. You don't try and tell people what your USP is. You deliver your treatment, deliver your care, whatever service it is, and then you ask people why they came to you. And people will tell you what it is that makes you stand out. Now, if you don't like what stands out, then that's going to be a problem. Justin, you keep sharing those dodgy comments, mate.
I'm trying to get rid of them.
You'll have to block them and switch it off separately. But that kind of that USP is interesting. And actually, Celia, you touch on something which in the book which really annoys me. Not your book really annoys me because you'll hunt me down and I'll be in trouble. It's when people go out there and go, right, my USP is that I'm registered with the HCPC, I'm fully insured and I'm fully qualified. Well, who cares? Who cares about that? That's your basic level. It's like, honestly, it's your basic level.
I expect my dentist to have a basic dental qualification to be insured. I expect to be registered with the, I expect I don't care. I mean, that's a given. Surely that's a given. He's been to university, he's done some exams, he's got a certificate, and he's ready to go drill my tooth. Are you insured? That's a given. And it's a given that he's sterilising, and it's a given that he's doing this, and it's a given that he's doing that. And it's possibly a little bit more now in the whole prep side and the car park and the whole patient journey through it. But if I'm turning up and paying money to a professional person who's got a degree qualification and spent 3, 6, 10, 15, 20 years getting that qualification, all those things are a given. And what the outcome from what he can do for me, I don't care about any of this other bullshit. That's what you need to talk to them about. I've got 10,000 hours. That was it. The students all fill in the same CV filling in class. They've all done 10,000 hours of practical such and such, covering this and that and that. Yeah, everybody's done that. That's the syllabus I did 30 years ago. Tell me about you.
Did I tell you, I've spent well more than 10,000 hours staring at the inside of my eyelids when I sleep, but I don't put that on a CV or on my marketing at all because it's just not important. But I mean, and I've got no problem with touching on the professional stuff because we do have to show that we are professional. Although that kind of professional piece for me, it's trapped in amber. It's at our core, and the only way in which you break that is when you do something stupid and get struck off the register, and you really, really make a mistake. That professional core is kind of you can't touch it. That's an MC Hammer thing. You cannot touch that, and it's great that we reference it, and it's great that we kind of touch, and it's almost like leaning up against it. But actually, what you've got to do is say, why is this professional thing important to you as a patient? Where's the connection? Why what's in it for me? Why does this matter to you? If you don't capture that, then you're just out there talking about, well, I've got this qualification and all of that stuff.
And I think it's where you kind of look at profiles of practitioners on websites and you see a long string of letters behind their name and you've got no clue what those letters mean. Now, if they maybe talking to other health professionals, then sometimes those letters might be, relevant to the person in front of them. But generally speaking, those letters behind your name are not relevant to the patient in front of you. I think where you can kind of think of your USP is, say, for instance, you have now gone down the road that's specialized in women's health. Then that becomes a bit of a USP because now I'm, going to go online and think, okay, menopause time of my life, and I'm going to want to find a woman health physio, not just a normal kind of regular physio. So I'm going to look for that unique selling point of I've done a lot of work in women's health, or if you wanted to take your baby, look for that person that's done pediatrics. So I think when there are specialisms, then that becomes a bit more unique. But I think the unique selling point is a combination of a lot of different things because
we treat people just like you. We treat people just like you who want to stay active, mobile, more mobility, be able to play with the grandkids, be able to go walk on the beach. That's the outcome that they want. We help people with back pain, hip pain, knee pain, jaw pain, pain. Stay more active and mobile, living a healthier lifestyle, being able to.
Oh, Justin's frozen.
Oh, Justin's frozen.
Oh, no, it's interesting. Yeah, he's good looking when he's frozen. It's interesting that it's interesting that you touch on the women's health physio stuff. We actually have in Bromsgrove, where I am, we actually have Steph, she's special pink zebra physio. She specialises in pregnancy and women's health and an acupuncture, and that is her niche. And I met with her ages ago. She's great, and she's got a really interesting story about how she ended up doing that from her own experience while she was a physio, and she's kind of focused her whole business on that. I mean, that's a massive niche and a massive USP, and any other physio in the area is going to go, actually, that's not my specialist area. The person to go and see is Steph. And she doesn't talk. The problem is she doesn't talk about it enough.
Yeah. You should also start attracting people well outside the area because you will travel for somebody that is that specialist as well.
Yeah. And also with the COVID stuff now, with telehealth, you will go and connect with somebody across the other side of the world. If you know they're the specialist in that thing, you will go and talk to the best because you're going to it's going to be a good use of your time. It's going to be a good investment.
Yeah, One of my physio clients at the beginning of lockdown started doing consultations online. Very first patient that she did an online consultation with, she's based near where you are actually, Dave, and her first consultation was in Spain.
Yeah.
So, and because she is a specialist in her area.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people are worried by specializing, you're going to be quiet, but actually by specializing, usually you get rammed.
Yeah, my colleague Anthony Claffey, he's completely transitioned. He's an anatomy and motion movement and pain specialist practitioner in Dublin. Closed his clinic, all online now. Tanzania, Kenya, South America, Canada, consulting all around the world. Again, another women's health practitioner, pelvic health specialist in Texas. She was 40% online, 50% online before lockdown. Now 100% online, consulting every day. Never been busier. Has never been busier. and consulting all around the world. Why wouldn't you want to pick up the Zoom call to the world expert? Especially now with 5G, world expert from the tennis court, live, talking to you about your...
I would just put one caveat there, is check your insurance is covered. Make sure that you are covered internationally and not just in the UK.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
But it should just be one quick phone call to get it added.
Yeah, and that is probably the only time where I would turn around and say, yes, I have insurance. Actually, because you can talk about the fact that your business has changed, you're moving online, you're seeing people internationally. And one of the things you had to do was go and get insurance or make sure your insurance did it. I mean, that's a really good social media and marketing piece in itself. It's a good story. But yeah, that's a really good point, Celia.
And so the pipeline and the thing, but of course, it's just all about having a plan rather than not having a plan might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Most people don't have a plan. Reactionary rather than proactive.
So we're going to let Kate do her usual thing and wrap up in a very succinct 1 minute summary.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Come on, Kate, drum roll.
Go on, Kate.
Up on this page here. Of course, you've all got a hold of Celia's book by now, and you've understood that to get a steady flow of clients, which will lead to a steady flow of revenue, lead to a steady flow of referrals, and a steady flow of profitability, so you're going to have a healthy business, you need to make sure that you've got a default diary that includes some marketing activity. And Celia's book here describes perfectly how the inquiries then convert to patient consults, which then convert to treatment plans, that then convert to either regular returning patients or word of mouth referrals. So take the time
and
self-organised.
And we encourage a marketing spreadsheet. Sorry, Dave.
Even if you start off something like really basic, like pick like 6 events in a year, so one every 2 months. So say Pancake Tuesday or St. Patrick's Day, Easter, summer holidays, kids' shoes, getting ready for walks in autumn, getting fitter for summer. Say those 6, or getting fitter for the new year. Say those 6 things, and just one every 2 months, and just build stuff around it. Blogs and videos, social media, and everything like that. That's just 6 things you could build things around. I mean, there you go. You can have them for free, and just talk all about those for a month either side of them. Run a little competition. Kids can do the colouring in on the picture for St. Patrick's Day. Easter thing, do an Easter hamper. So we've been doing all these things for years. So many.
Can I put a shout out actually for? Sorry, Celia, go on.
I was going to say, if you're really struggling for a theme or topic, go on to awarenessdays.co.uk and you will have a million different topics that you can.
I forgot to talk about International Foot Day or International Back Day or International Physio Day. And
don't miss those.
World Diabetic Foot Day and all those other things.
Don't worry about those. There's only one date you need in your diary, which is this coming Saturday is International Bacon Day. So meat eaters unite. Get in there and talk about your love of bacon. I will be.
Did you see my bacon post on Instagram? The really crispy stuff.
Oh, I haven't. I can't believe I missed one of your posts. I'm gutted now. I'm gonna have to check my diary now to make sure that I don't miss any.
Well, of course, what you don't want to miss now is my new podcast, which was released yesterday. So eventually, I've got around to it. The first one is the really good opening up with Jerry Durham, who's all about the front desk journey. So that should be pretty interesting. That was recorded way back in April, I think, or May. So eventually got around to getting it done. So Jerry Durham, the most important person in your practice is your front desk, not you. And that's where the journey starts. The journey starts with, yes, hello, would you mind telling me what you've done? That's where the journey starts. Not, yes, I'd like to book an appointment, please. Of course you can. Would you mind telling me a little bit more about what you've done? Or you can simple it down to 5 words. Why? What have you done? That's it. When somebody phones to make an appointment, hi, I'd like to book an appointment with the whoever. It isn't like what time on Tuesday. It is why, what have you done? And then that starts the whole journey. That sets the whole tone for the business. Thrilling podcast, the first of many to come. You can find it across all media channels. Thankfully, I've eventually got it sorted out. And so is that us?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
We'll be here back next week for the patient journey.
Woo!
Oh, which is where we just began, where we just ended, where we're finishing.
Okay.
I've got a dash to see my physio, so I will see you guys next week.
Oh, cool. See you later.
See you later.
Podcast. Okay.
Bye.